Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our Meet the Teacher Night, and specifically our 5th grade program. I would like to introduce myself. I think I'm hearing rain. Hopefully we don't get hit by a tornado or a hurricane, or I know there's a thunderstorm watch, so can it get any crazier this weather? My name is Todd Reiner. I am the new principal here at Slatington in week, 3.5, maybe 4 now. Bear with me as I'm going through some of this. This is kind of new for me as well, but the cool thing about me, as I kind of give you a little bit of a background, is I'm very much like you in the sense I am or will be a parent in a school district. So I live in the school district, and which is absolutely awesome, and I'm so excited to be serving the community where I live. But my background started in actually Tamaqua, and I went to East Stroudsburg University, graduated with a health and phys ed degree, and taught health and phys ed at Emmaus for a number of years before I went into administration. When I went into administration, I was an assistant principal at their high school for 5 years. I was an assistant to the principal for a year. And then went in and was the principal most recently at in the Pleasant Valley School District in their Pleasant Valley Intermediate School, which is a 4-5-6 building, very similar to this building. And like I said, so I'm in my 10th year, 4th year as a building principal, and I'm just super excited to be here in the Northern Lehigh School District. If you haven't met her, please, feel free to stop in and see her. She was probably in the main office when she came in. This is our school counselor, Mrs. Sue Mangle. She works with our students. She is probably my right-hand gal, other than Mrs. Belts, who is my administrative assistant in the main office. She works with students in coping skills. She works with them individually or in groups. She'll work with them on how to get along with others, and a whole array of other things. She's absolutely wonderful, and if you have any questions for our school counselor, she is down in the main office. She's manning the front door tonight. Okay, so if you've been here for a number of years, you're probably pretty familiar with this. We have a school-wide positive behavior support program, which we use a token economy system called Bulldog Bucks. Last year, I think they were called Dojo Points, right? And some teachers may be using some Dojo Points or a combination of Dojo Points and Bulldog Bucks. But essentially what we try to do is we try to highlight the positive behaviors that we see based on our expectations for our students, and we reward them, and then they can use that point system or Bulldog or dollar system to go into our school store to purchase things, or our teachers also do some other things inside their classroom with those things. But our 4 main expectations, again, we have other expectations as well, but our 4 main that we talk about a lot are basically be responsible, be respectful, be safe, and be proud. One of the things that you might hear your son or daughter talk about is, if we're in a large group, I might raise my 4 fingers to them, and basically I'm talking to them and communicating that I want them to be responsible, respectful, safe, and proud in terms of, all right, we're in a large group, I'm trying to get their attention. Be responsible by listening, be respectful by not talking so you're not interrupting somebody, be safe because I might be giving you some safety information, and then be proud by communicating it back, so they always will raise their hands back to me, and they're communicating and being proud that, hey, I got you. Okay, so we talk about that and talk about it not only in the cafeteria, but in what that looks like in the bathroom, what it looks like on the bus, or what that looks like walking down the hallway or in class. So if you hear them talking about those things, please try to also reinforce those 4 expectations, because certainly they can be applied to any aspect of their life. Our health office. The thing I need to highlight here is that if you have any medications that need to come in, please don't give them to your son or daughter and bring them on the bus. They have to be brought in by an adult, and the process for that can be highlighted in our student handbook, which is posted on our webpage. Specifically, there's some paperwork that would need to be filled out. That's why we need you to bring it in. We need to know the dosage. We need to know how many times, all that stuff. So please make sure that you're not just giving them something to bring in to us. Also, we do health screening. So if you hear your son or daughter talking about this, we do a vision screening. We do hearing, height, and weight throughout the school year. So you may hear them talking about the nurse pulling them or calling them down to do these different things. That's what we're doing. Chromebooks. Every student this year was provided a Chromebook. These Chromebooks are brand new. They were also provided a case with a Chromebook. We are asking them to take the Chromebooks home every night. Unfortunately, we live in a world where, because of COVID, we could end up being shut down, or again, we have a hurricane, or we have some crazy weather going on right now, and we end up closed. The idea was to try to give them a device so that making sure that they have the device that is needed for them to work at home. Obviously, if the power's out, that's a little different. But the idea, what we are asking them to do with their Chromebook is every night to charge them. And at the beginning of the school year, I went around to every classroom and had a conversation with all of our students about making that part of their routine. I talked about how my routine every night, and it truly is I plug my laptop in before I go to sleep, and then I wake up and I pack it up, and it's just like brushing my teeth. So that making it part of a routine will help them remember to bring it back. But we do ask that they charge it every night and bring it back charged. If you weren't aware, we are a Title I school, and what that basically means is because of certain data with our school, we receive federally funded money to be used for different programs and setting goals that we have to use those funds for. The reason I have this on here is, one, to highlight that we are a Title I school, but the second reason is if you are, certainly this year, because of everything, our lunches and our breakfasts are all free. So students can come every day, every student, and they can get a free lunch or free breakfast. If what we need for you, those of you that qualify for free or reduced lunch, we still need you to fill out the paperwork for that qualification, because that paperwork and the data behind that paperwork is what is used to determine whether we are Title I or not. So it's very important, if you are somebody that does qualify, that you fill that out so that we don't lose the resources that we are getting for our kids, because there's a lot of resources that we get regarding that. So if you need any help with that, please reach out to our food service department, and they can help walk you through that documentation process. Other than this, tonight we are asking you to sign in. The teachers will talk to you about that in a few minutes. But that sign-in is also part of us being a Title I program, because we have to record and keep track of family engagement programs that we run, and then how many that we have in attendance that were physically here. So we will also be running some other family engagement, like a family engagement series. Myself and Mr. Schneiderite at Peters Elementary will be doing this. And we will bring topics up at these meetings. I believe the first one is the beginning of October. And those topics we'll discuss and come up with suggestions, report suggestions, talk about solutions to maybe problems regarding those topics. And what I can tell you is the suggestions and ideas, or some suggestions and ideas that came out of family engagement meetings like this, actually have been implemented. So the more that we can have you all engaged in the process of talking through these things, the better off we are. I'm always a firm believer of, more minds are greater, and taking a look at it through different lenses is very important.
They're really awesome. I'm not joking. I
So I want to highlight, and it should say PTO. It does say it up there, and I'm sorry. I changed the theme on the PowerPoint, and now you can't see it. But I do want to highlight a couple people that are here tonight, or groups that are here. We do have the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. We have Knowlton Treatment Center, but most of all, I wanted to highlight the PTO. They do an outstanding job, and they're a wonderful group of people that are here for our kids. If you had the opportunity to attend the ice cream social last Friday, it was awesome. I actually took a ice cream home to my wife, and she said, "Oh my goodness, this is a lot of ice cream." It's absolutely wonderful, and we are starting our largest fundraiser coming up. So it's called the Booster-thon. So please, if you have an opportunity tonight, stop over at the PTO and our other guests as well to talk with them a little bit. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our 5th grade teachers. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves, or do you want me to introduce?
Thank you, Mr. Reiner. This is the 5th grade team. I'm Mr. Mangle. A lot of you know me. I've been here forever. Almost 20 years now. And I teach math and science along with Mrs. Fry. You can raise your hand. And Mr. Danfitz. The reading and social studies teachers include Ms. Beer, Mrs. Valley, and Mr. Danfitz. And our learning sport teacher is Mr. Mertz. You know, there's going to be a need for a lot of communication this year, especially just like last year due to COVID. And we would really prefer that if we could communicate through Class Dojo, that would be great. Now, you can certainly email us too, but Class Dojo usually works the best for us. So that would be the best way to communicate. It's a way for you to send private messages to us, and us obviously to send private messages to you. And we'll also be sending you reminders through Class Dojo, maybe for the whole class reminders, upcoming important events coming up, and that'll be done through Class Story. And if you have a smartphone, there is an app to download the Class Dojo. For the kids, the students should be communicating with us through their school email account. And they're used to doing that. Every day they check their email daily. And if your child is out and they're quarantining or they're doing their work from home and they have a question, please tell them to email us, and we'll get back to them as soon as possible. And likewise, we'll be communicating with them through email and or video conferencing or phone calls. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Jacobs for PowerSchool.
Hello, I'm here to talk to you about PowerSchool. PowerSchool is our online grading system. It's very important that you get on PowerSchool, that you're checking your child's grades regularly. We do a lot of electronic testing through our curriculum programs, through Google Forms. You're not going to see the grades come home in their take-home folder as paper tests. There are ways to go into those programs and see their results, but the very easiest way is to check PowerSchool. You can see the grade, and if you want to then ask your child to pull up that test so you can see, what items they got wrong, you can do that. You can set up weekly alerts. You can get notifications so that you can remember. It's an app that you put on your phone. Very easy, just like Class Dojo. You can also go to the Northern Lehigh website under links for parents. There is a PowerSchool link there as well. If you need login information, if you're not on PowerSchool, you contact Karen Belts, our secretary in the main office, and she's the one that can help you with usernames and passwords to get you on PowerSchool. Once you're hooked up, it's very easy. It just cycles from one year to the next. They use PowerSchool all the way up through graduation. So once you're connected, it's a real good way to stay on top of things. We do send home a progress report through the mail. Halfway through each marking period, if your child has a 70 or below, that's when you get that progress report. So we ask that you sign those, send them back. But really, if you're checking on PowerSchool, there will be no surprises. And you can check in with your child. What went wrong on that test? Wow, you did a really good job on that one. And it's just a great way to stay connected. And that's it. Yeah.
Hi, so I'm going to be talking to you about Google Classroom today. And Google Classroom is really what is going on in your child's classroom. So actually, if you go tap on right there, I'm just going to shoot you over to a Google Classroom. Oh. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Maybe because he's not in your class.
Oh, you're not in my class. So sorry.
I was probably in the principal's office.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna add
You wanna
this really
switch?
quick as a co-teacher to mine, and you can open up mine.
Exactly. So we'll get that done, and I'll just talk to you real quick about it. So in Google Classroom, your child has one for every subject. So I am ELA, will find reading, grammar, spelling. Every teacher usually has a tab at the top that tells you when upcoming tests are. So we will also have all of our resources in Google Classroom. I know all of my coworkers and I, we post this daily. So if your student is absent for a day, if they are legitimately sick, they can come back and see everything that is on Google Classroom. So all assignments are listed per day per class under the date. And if you are out, they should be checked. Class meetings. So in case you do have a shutdown because of COVID or for some other reason, your class meetings are on your Google Classroom account. And when they pull this up, you see it right here. Mrs. Valley will help you. You can see right up here under Meet Link. So if we are shut down for any reason, you'll get, your child will get an email from your teacher telling them when they will be able to meet as a group with that teacher. And all they'll have to do is go to Google Classroom, click on this link, and they'll find their teacher. And I think one of my other coworkers is going to talk to you about if we do have a shutdown, so I won't go too far into that. But if you go over to classwork, this is how it's organized. So important information, how-to videos will usually always be at the top. And then as you scroll through it, you'll see that we've already started considering what's going on next week. But day by day is where all the different resources are. And depending on how our day is going, we might not be strictly there that day. We might have to move things around. But if you click on the assignment, just like you saw, the resources is there, the instructions are there, everything should be there for your students to use. So that is Google Classroom, and it really has helped all of us so much this year, especially in this pandemic, to help you and your child stay organized. So that is Google Classroom right now.
Do you want to talk about the upcoming tests?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I did say that upcoming test is usually listed at the very top. So if you're ever curious, they come tell us, oh, we don't take any tests. Ask them to see their Google Classroom. They know that they have upcoming tests. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over to Mrs. Valley. Oh,
You can put the Google Classroom app on your phone, use your child's login, and you can see their Google Classroom at any time during the day, the week, whatever. I did this last year because I had so many kids at home and monitoring and making sure everybody had handed everything in. I just pull it up on my phone. Nope, you didn't do that. Nope, you didn't do that. Oh, you need to do this.
It is a good.
So there's an app for that too. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Mrs. Valiant. I'm going to talk to you about learning from home. Hopefully that's not the case, but we want to make you prepared in case that does happen. So if your child would come home and has to quarantine, right now your child will follow along in Google Classroom. Like you have just seen, it is broken down for them step by step. Number 1, do this. Number 2, do this. All the links are there for them, and they can follow at home. If they have any questions, they can email us, we can meet with them at our prep or at the end of the day. We've had some students that were a little lost because they had to quarantine the first week or two, and that's totally fine, we understand that. We can meet with them every day if need be, if they are still confused. We can also contact through email. Usually the teachers will shoot them an email and say, hey, how's everything going? Do you need any help? What can we do for you? But for the most part, that's quarantining right now. That could change at some point. For absences, so let's say your child is ill at home. They should complete the work that they've missed, but let's say that they're really sick at home. They don't feel well. We give them as many days to make up the work as they're out. So for example, if your child is at home with a stomach bug for 3 days, they don't feel like doing work. They come back to school after that third day, they have 3 days to make up that missed work. But they do have to make it up, because if they don't, they're really far behind. And they'll be really confused when they come back. So we do give them that time to make it up. For snow days, this year and last year, we are given 5 snow days that we won't have to make up at the end of the year. They turn into asynchronous days. And what that means is we will not meet with them at a certain time. Because let's face it, I have kids too, and I know when they have snow days and I don't, they're at grandma's, and grandma has no idea how to meet at certain times. So we turn them asynchronous. So what that means is their assignments are in Google Classroom, and whenever they can complete it that day, they do it. And they do it on their own. And typically it's not a new lesson, it's not something that they won't know how to do. It might be a review, it might be something like that. So we have 5 of those days, hopefully built in, or hopefully not, that we have this year, that we won't have to make up at the end. So, all right. I think that's it for this slide. All right, Mr. Murtis.
Hi, I'm Mr. Murtis. I am the learning support teacher for 5th grade. Now, if you're sitting here and you have a 5th grader that is in learning support, has an IEP, reading is a little bit different. Actually, can you go one more slide?
Sure.
Reading is divided. Because we're using a program, it's a replacement curriculum for special education students. It's called Read 180, or it could be something called System 44. With the special education students, we kind of level them with 6th grade. So 6th grade and 5th grade kind of share students. So you may have a 5th grader that goes downstairs to see Miss Mendez for part of the reading because she is doing the System 44, where I'm doing the Read 180 program in my room. So that's a little bit different than it was in 4th grade. And I think in 4th grade, if you were in System 44 or Read 180, you were in the same classroom. This year, we kind of split them and level them off. Apparently, I really like math, because I put it there twice. Math 180 is something totally new for this year, so if you're sitting there as a parent, you're like, I have no idea what Math 180. It's connected to the Read 180 system, but it's called Math 180. It's new this year. It works them through